All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It's been a surprisingly slow start to this NFL season for the Baltimore Ravens, but all is not lost for the team that has won the AFC North in each of the last 2 years. Now, yes, the Ravens are currently 2-5, and yes, they have not had the services of quarterback Lamar Jackson during this month. But with the Ravens' win over the Chicago Bears this past Sunday, sans Jackson, along with the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers have dropped their last two games, everything is still there for the taking for Baltimore in regards to this division. The Ravens are expected to have Jackson back when they take on the Miami Dolphins this Thursday night. And clearly, it has not been pretty so far for the Ravens. But if ever there were a team that could turn this thing around, it's them. Now, four of Baltimore's five losses so far this season have come against teams that currently have winning records. And with the anticipated return of Lamar Jackson, the Ravens are entering a lull in their schedule as six of their next seven games are against teams that currently have losing records. But the Ravens got to go out there and take care of their business. You look at it, Baltimore, they've still got two games with Pittsburgh. They've still got two games with Cincinnati, who themselves are currently without quarterback Joe Burrow. So you look at it, and I really do feel that the Pittsburgh Steelers missed a golden opportunity. And of course, Pittsburgh has their own woes, and it starts with their defense. But nonetheless, I felt like when the Ravens did not have the services of Lamar, and of course, he got injured in Week 4 against Kansas City, another loss for the Ravens. They lost the first two without him. Luckily for them, they had their bye in Week 7. It was on the fence whether or not we were going to see Lamar Jackson this past Sunday against Chicago, and of course, that didn't work out. But it looks like all systems go for him and the Ravens this Thursday night. Big stretch, like I said, 6 out of the next 7 for Baltimore are against teams that currently have losing records. But on top of that, their next 3 are on the road at Miami this Thursday, followed by a trip to Minnesota to take on the Vikings in Week 10, and then they travel to take on the Browns in Week 11. But of course, if you can take care of your business on Thursday night, it's basically a de facto week off before you got to go out there and get ready for your next contest. Like I said, the Ravens are expected to be heavily favored in this game when they travel to take on the Dolphins. But again, like I said before, they've got to go out there and take care of their business. Depending where the chips fall this Sunday, Baltimore could really be sitting pretty. Let's say if the Ravens are able to go out there and take care of their business against Miami on Thursday night. And again, they can't look past Miami because we just saw Miami beat a heavy underdog on the road to Atlanta, and they beat the brakes off of the Falcons last Sunday, okay? But nonetheless, let's say if Baltimore is able to go out there and take care of their business against Miami. Uh, the Cincinnati Bengals, they host the Bears. To me, that's a toss-up game right there. And then you've got the Steelers, who have been up and down, hosting the Indianapolis Colts. And right now, of course, the Colts look like world beaters, so we don't know what could become of that game. But nonetheless, we could possibly have a scenario where after this week's action, Baltimore would only be a game behind Pittsburgh in the standings, and then they would only be, or they would be tied rather, with Cincinnati in the win column. And like I said, Baltimore still controls their own destiny. Why? Because they've got 5 games within this division yet. You look at it, 4 out of their last 6 are against both Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. And I think those games, the way that things are shaping up right now, are going to go a long way in deciding this division. Remember, if the Bengals can try to keep this thing afloat, they get Joe Burrow back as well. So I really think that this is going to be a battle between these 3 teams coming down the stretch to see who is going to get this division. If you're Baltimore, you had a tough schedule to begin the season. Heartbreaking loss at Buffalo. Heartbreaking loss, at home to Detroit. Then, Kansas City. We're talking about three division winners last season in your first four games. And, you could sprinkle in Houston with that as well. So five out of their first six opponents were playoff teams from a year ago. But nonetheless, this is an opportunity for the Ravens to get back on track. And I think the return of Lamar Jackson is definitely going to open up this offense, definitely going to open up things for running back Derrick Henry. You look at the passing game with the likes of Zay Flowers and, of course, Mark Andrews and, of course, a guy like Duke Hopkins. But I think this defense has been playing better. They got to keep improving, and they have to go out there and start forcing turnovers and keeping that pressure on opposing quarterbacks. But nonetheless, everything is set for the Ravens to get on a roll. I really do think so. But they've got to go out there and take care of their business. And of course, it starts this Thursday night with Miami. Like I said, Pittsburgh missed a golden opportunity to put this team away. Pittsburgh also missed an opportunity to put Cincinnati away because remember, they lost to them a couple of Thursday nights ago. But nonetheless, the Ravens are getting their guy back. And I think it's all systems go. And of course, as Lamar Jackson goes, so do the fortunes of the Baltimore Ravens. So let's see if the return of Lamar will allow the Ravens to put this slow start behind them, get on a roll, and start thinking about another trip to the postseason. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw on this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. Like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, it'll be my pleasure to give you that follow right back in return. And the same goes for Instagram, where you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you are on Facebook, definitely be sure to check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of those better sports groups on Facebook or on social media for that matter. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.